Hi everybody, this is my third attempt at reviewing the Aquarius Tarot. I feel like my video making mojo is a little bit disrupted of late. I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but I persist. And so here is the Aquarius Tarot, and by somebody whose name is Dawn Aquarius. I am assuming that is a stage name of some kind, with the psychedelic ink over here. Cardboard tuck box, pretty sturdy, quite easy to open in and out, so it's one that you can keep, or one that I certainly can keep quite comfortably. So I'll leave this sitting here with a little mushroom up there. Name of the tarot here, name of the creator there. Okay, and so first of all, let me just go straight to the point. I wasn't going to get this, and the first batch of printing ran out, and then by the second batch of printing I became quite intrigued by it. And mainly I was half-hearted because I think I saw that the rest of the deck outside of the major arcana wasn't all that different from a billion other Rider-Waite-Smith clones that are available out there. Now this particular card here, a lot of us really was attracted to the deck mainly because of this card. And some of you actually, this is actually the one that's stopping you from getting the deck. So that's interesting, and I would like very much to hear more about those who feel that this isn't quite the right full card for them. I certainly look at this and felt there is a certain freshness that the artist took to the standard classic Rider-Waite-Smith Pixies artwork. And I feel that this really is the essence of the Aquarius of Aquarius Tarot. She is now this beautiful late 60s, early 70s type of girl iconography with the bell sort of sleeves and the flowery sort of pattern there, and the clashing of bright colors together. And she reminds me of that character in Scooby-Doo. Was it Daphne or was it the other one? There's two of them, I can't remember. And you know, the boots, it's just everything about it. And if you look at the creator's website, she and I think her partner or her husband actually made this really psychedelic looking, bright colored, wonderful 60s, early 70s type of tops. And I'm waiting for them to have a pattern that is suitable for women with breasts, because usually when you cut a top a certain way, there's not enough space for the breast and it won't fall properly. So I'm waiting for them to have a ladies version of what they have there. I absolutely fell in love with this sort of, you know, late 60s, early 70s. I remember the 70s. I was a child in the 70s. I was born just at the turn of, you know, from the 60s, transitioning to the 70s. And so this feels like the essence of this deck. And unfortunately, I feel that it pretty much stopped there. And it's almost as if, I'm not saying this is the case, almost as if, I quite like this, it feels like the creator is still having fun here, but then it feels like with the other major arcana, especially in the minors, it feels like she's sort of gotten a bit bored by it after a while, and the rest felt like a bit of an afterthought. So I'm going to leave this one here, the ones that I like. I quite like this because it feels, even though she doesn't seem to do a lot of things here, it just feels a lot more colorful. I don't know, it's just, overall it feels like there's enough Aquarius, you know, Aquarius Tarot, the Aquarius in Aquarius Tarot, whether there's enough of that in the card is how I judge the value of this deck, because it is another Rider-Waite-Smith, and there's so many of them out there that, especially when it's taken directly from Pixie's art, really their take on it is all there is to add to a deck like that, in my opinion. So like this one here, it's simply a redrawing of the major arcana, and you have the psychedelic pattern with the angel's clothing there, but that's it. And then you sort of slap on the psychedelic font, and that's pretty much it. Same here. So it feels minimal. This is just a redrawing of the Justice card, basically, with a psychedelic fonting. That's basically it. And so I don't really like. Not that I don't like it, it's just not enough for me to purchase a deck if all it does is to change the font. Because I have a few Rider-Waite-Smith, I don't need another one. This I like because it feels like enough of the, you know, the Aquarius Tarot on it here. So these three I really like, and I wish the whole deck is a little bit more full on like this. It would really make it a really fun deck to work with. If all of them are a bit more like this, a little bit more, you know, like the coloring at the back's been changed, like there's 1, 2, 3, 4 colors just in the back there, and then there's this, and then there's that. It's just wonderful. Those are really my favorite. Here we return back to this, you know, kind of minimal interference or minimal modification. I really quite like his outfit though. So these are, maybe these three are sort of quite nice and bright, but nothing like the sort of feeling that I get from these three, for example. Like, you know, not only the backgrounds altered, the clothing's are altered, the pattern on the clothing's altered or made to be the Aquarius Tarot. This is pretty sort of redrawing again with a font. That's pretty much it. Same here, same here. It's just redrawing. There's really nothing else there other than the font. So I quite like that because it's quite full on as well. And here is just another redrawing, and I say just because, again, for me, so this angel is definitely not androgynous anymore here. Another simple, minimal reworking on the art there. That's a little bit more funky. And then there's another just simple redrawing with font with not much more. Another one, strength. Another one. I quite like that because of the outfit. And there. And that as well. This is another redrawing. I think the alteration is the crown of flowers there. And this very typical late 60s, early 70s type of facial features in a lot of illustrations with the long eyelashes, both top and bottom there, the full lips. But other than that, quite minimal reworking there. And this is basically just a redrawing of Pixie's art with a different font. So of all the majors, I love these four. I absolutely adore these four, and I wish the whole deck's a lot more like this. And I feel the soul of the deck, or the Aquarius in Aquarius Tarot, is this fool over here. That is a complete retake of Pixie's art, that is bouncing off Pixie's art into the deck's own creation. But then it's almost as if she started off with this and then thought, well, why don't I do, you know, these other ones? And then somewhere along the line, she sort of almost lost steam, or I suppose these two I can categorize as pretending that the creator is still having fun, and then somewhere along the line she just sort of decided that she was just going to redraw the original art with different colorings, different facial features, different hairdo perhaps, modernize them a little bit, and then put these fonts, and that's basically it. So of all the majors, perhaps these are the sort of cards that, to me, epitomize the name Aquarius Tarot, in which I was hoping to be able to find the same delight in the rest of the deck, but I didn't quite get it. And the rest of the majors here are simple redrawing, or a little bit more than simple redrawing, but to me not enough, with an additional psychedelic fonting at the bottom. And these two are kind of lovely still. It's a mere quote-unquote smear reworking, but the coloring is full enough that it gives the same kind of feeling as these ones here. Let's say in comparison to say that, you see what I mean? Okay, and so now we go to the quartz and the aces. As you can see, there's minimal, you don't see as much Aquarius tarot in here, and a lot more Rider-Waite-Smith with funky fonts. That's basically all it is. So I'm not saying there's no tweaks, I'm not saying there's no recoloring or redrawing. The facial features are definitely different, feels more modern. The hair is different, feels more modern, but they're minimal. So the clothing here, there's psychedelic patterning of the clothing there, so that's one. Those two have very fun clothing there, 2, 3. Fishy Fish, 4. I think those are original too, I can't remember, but you know, because it doesn't jump at me, I'm discounting it because although it might be sufficiently different from Pixie's art, I can't tell. So, and then there is the minors that are simply, I mean, this is straightforward redrawing of Pixie's art, nothing less, nothing more. And with, I mean, a bit of, as I said again, color differences and facial features and hairdo and all that. So there's some with the psychedelic clothing. I wish there's a lot more. Like there could, it's just there's so much more opportunity to do more of these, and I can't see, like there for instance, but it's not, or there. That's, the fussy hair is gone, you know, that black fussy awkward looking hair is gone, but like here, it just looked like she's kind of lost interest, but decided that she was going to do a whole deck, because now that she's done a little here and a little there, beginning with the major arcana, like too often we hear it feels like the minors is an afterthought. So the cape here, so that's quite lovely, and this one here, but that's about it really. The rest are just straightforward Rider-Waite-Smith, another clone. It doesn't add any, the add value, you know, that there's no added value in terms of, there's no Aquarius tarot in this at all. It's just Rider-Waite-Smith really. So that's that. Compare that to this, for example. And this is definitely the soul of the, this is definitely the Aquarius in Aquarius tarot. Yeah, and look at that. It's just all this color. It's almost as if she did all these and then decided that she's not interested anymore, but she has to carry on, sort of thing. I'm not saying that is what in fact happened. I'm just saying this is the impression that I get. Cardstock is thin but sturdy, very friendly to a variety of shuffling. This way riffle shuffling is really nice because it's really really thin. It's not reversible in the back, which is great for some of us, and the edges are smooth and sealed, so so it's, and I was thinking of edging this, but this one white, and then you go from this angle, it's this kind of reddish color, so I quite like that change in shade every time you move. So I won't be edging that because I don't want to interfere with that effect. And that's it really. So if you are looking for a standard Rider-Waite-Smith structure without the esoteric symbolism, or you don't mind missing esoteric symbolism, because for example the Hebrew lettering on the chest of the angel on the temperance card, in the temperance card for example, has disappeared. So like a lot of these so-called quote-unquote clones, I don't like to call them clones, but that's the term that people are using, that's not there. The angel was described by weight as neither female nor male. This is looking a little bit more female. So if those things aren't important to you, and this is a good deck to have Pixies approximated, the approximation of Pixie's art without actually having her art. It's not that her art is unattractive, but a lot of us don't like her art because of the way it's been reproduced currently. The only version of Pixie's art that I can swallow is the one by AGM Urania, the one with the crackled back that isn't available in the US or in the UK or in Canada. I quite like that. Yeah, so if you're looking for a standard Rider-Waite-Smith but you don't want Pixie's art, this is quite fun. But if you already have several Rider-Waite-Smith deck, unfortunately to me personally, other than these cards here, the rest are pretty much the same as any other Rider-Waite-Smith images that I've seen. The only real Aquarius tarot in the deck are these, as far as I'm concerned. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this fans really well. So I'm giving this like 6.5 out of 10. If all of the cards are worked in the same seemingly passion and excitement as these ones, it would have been a 10 out of 10, but you know, it's not. So I'm giving most of the 6.5 stars to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are these 7 cards really. And the cardstock, which is I like thick cardstock because I usually overhand shuffle, but the fact that I quite like this thin cardstock is because it's sturdy. Even though it's thin, it's sturdy. It's already chipped a little bit, but I don't really care because I don't see this as a masterpiece. I don't really care. So it's already chipped a little bit. But other than that, it's been really sturdy. It's bent back. It hasn't bent or bowed after riffle shuffling. It returned relatively straight. And so it's relatively sturdy, even though it's quite thin. And the lamination is smooth and not glossy, so that's quite good. So that's my take on it. If you're looking for a standard deck that is not Pixies, this is great, highly recommend it. But if you already have a good bazillion version of Rider-Waite-Smith, I cannot say any other than these 7 cards. I really can't say that you'll gain anything more or any different or different enough than what you already have, other than the fonts and the occasional psychedelic pattern on 1 or 2 characters. But other than that, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.